Hello, and welcome to another Behind the Poem story. This week's poem is called Inkprint. And this week's poem, Inkprint, is part of a old group of poems that I found when I was ever so slightly obsessed with the sonnet form in high school. Inkprint was also originally going to be the first poem within the collection because it focuses on the problem of writing and an old tradition that dozens, if not hundreds of poets before me have tried to express, which is the problems with writing and why we write a poem about writing poems and the drive of writers to create and produce more work. So I ended up going with Phantom Idea, which there is a separate video for because was a more up-to-date poem. It was written more recently. It was, I think, almost a better version of trying to capture that elusive chasing of ideas, and it just seemed more fitting to have as the first poem in the book. Inkprint, however, I was proud of when I wrote it, and I'm still proud of it today. It is kind of a love letter to Shakespeare's sonnets. Now, I will be doing more on different forms within my Wednesday writing workshop videos, but if you haven't seen it already, looking at the sonnet form workshop will tell you a little bit more about Shakespeare's use of the sonnet form and how he develops the ideas within those sonnets. This sonnet, Inkprint, was a love letter to how that was written, to introduce a problem at the start of the poem, to develop that problem, and to follow the concept that if we are able to write and express ourselves, it is our responsibility as poets and writers to do so. It's almost an obligation. In a lot of Shakespeare's sonnets, he talked about the obligation of beautiful people to pass on their genetics by reproducing. He said, you're making the world a richer place by making sure that your beauty lives on forever. We as writers and poets, it is our responsibility, if we're good at it, if we like to write, if we enjoy writing, if we are creative and expressive and people like what we're doing and they like what we're writing, it's our responsibility to keep doing it and to make the most of that talent in trying to put humanity into words, trying to put feelings, emotions, events into words, express the best parts of ourselves so that those parts can live forever as long as there are eyes to see, so to speak. So I know that many poets have written poems about poetry and about poets, and so this was me trying to follow in that tradition and using an old form to do it. This is only one aspect of why writers write, to reach as many people as possible with their ideas, to leave an imprint on history, as the closing couplet of this particular sonnet states, every eye a venue on every shore. It's important when we have that as writers to be able to pass that on. So Inkprint is an old poem, but a good one, following an old tradition, one that I'm reasonably proud of. I hope that you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it, and I hope that sometime you might have a look at my little workshop video on how to write a sonnet and give it a try yourself. Think about what you have to think about. Think about whatever is happening, whatever is holding you back, or whatever problem you're trying to define and then solve, and use poetry to do it. And if poetry doesn't work, try fiction. If fiction doesn't work, try nonfiction. Just write, just talk, just find your voice and let other people hear it, because everybody has a voice, everybody has something valuable to say, and everybody has something others need to hear. So leave your inkprint on the world, and I hope you enjoy my Behind the Poem stories, and I hope to see you next week. Until then, stay safe. Bye.